start this one too. We need to start. Start and set. So, for too long, we have been sitting in the sidelines, watching our happiness being crushed down by our society and our government policies. What we're going to do here today, we're going to show you how we need to change that policy and make sure that our happiness, our society as individuals, is going to be maximized all the time. We, as the only ESL team in this debate, are going to show you why we are correct and why this is the only way that's supposed to go. Just to make clear, we're talking about some sort of a thumb rule, which each policy will be checked, and the amount of happiness that will, and if the amount of happiness that will be created will be bigger than the policy that we have now, it will be changed. We don't think it's that important, but we are talking about amount of happiness for people. Okay, in my speech, I'm going to show you firstly why happiness, why specifically we're talking about why happiness in our society, and secondly, I will show you why defining a policy based on happiness is better than based on rights.
Clarification.
Sure.
Could you give us an example of a policy that is not enacted right now but will be enacted after your policy?
Thank you, Michael. It could be anything at all, any policy that could be happening. If we think that beating Ro'i will maximize our happiness totally, that would be okay. My love. Okay, so first of all, why happiness? Why each individual today lives his or her life, obviously her life. We think that everything that we do today in our life is to maximize our happiness, whatever we do. Whether it is to take a job and to earn money, is it because money makes us happy, or because we can buy things that makes us happy with that money, or because we think that working will make us happy just by working. Even our health, protecting our health is not just for the sake of health, it's because we want to live our lives as much as we can and enjoy our life when we do that. We're talking about, even when we're talking about altruism, we're talking about contributing to community. Even then we see again and again that we do it for our own happiness much more than we do that for other people. No. So we see that everything that we do, anything that we do, will be to enlarge and make our happiness bigger and happier. I don't know. Okay, so why did we build our society? Because we said that we cannot do it alone. I cannot achieve the most happiness that I can only by myself. I have to have other people around me to help me in order to do that. We see that everywhere. We see that for me to be happy so I can go to Elat wherever I want, I need infrastructure, I need buses, I need roads. That way we build our society together. I need to protect my security, to protect myself. I need law and order in my society. So we did that because we cannot do it alone for our own happiness. I'll take a second if they want.
Can you explain to me how your contention that everything everyone does is for happiness fits in with mothers who sacrifice themselves to save their children?
That's an excellent example to show that my happiness will be that my child will live more than me, so I'm willing to sacrifice myself for that happiness. Thank you for that. Okay, so as I showed you, we cannot do it alone. No. For our happiness, no. For our own happiness, to improve our life quality, to improve our life happiness. But we agreed under these terms for compromises to make sure that we agree for compromises so our happiness will be bigger. We didn't agree for these compromises just for fun. We said that we agreed to do that in order for our happiness to be much bigger. We can see an excellent example about that when we're talking about taxes. Why is taxes maximize our happiness? I don't want to give that money, but I know that if I give just that amount of money, that will help my society to be much stronger, and to have money to build that infrastructure that I need. And that's why even paying taxes, when it looks like I'm giving too much of a compromise, it is actually from my happiness. So, no. So, any different society than what we are talking about is that it doesn't have, the society that we have today doesn't have a principled justification for that. It's an ineffective society because whatever we do today doesn't maximize our happiness. We need to return to basics, build again a society that actually promotes our happiness, doesn't do everything else but. Because what we're thinking that today our society doesn't do what we need now, doesn't help us maximize our happiness, because we need to sometimes take into appreciation something like rights. Now I'm going to show you why defining a policy based on happiness is better than one based on rights. No. What rights are we talking about when we see today? We see the right of free speech, we see the right for property, for parenthood, for bodily autonomy, whatever, every right that you want. That is what happened. I'm going to show you 3 reasons why the policy that we want is much better. Firstly, we think that the most important rights will be saved. Why is that? Because harming them won't improve happiness. For example, no thank you. For example, my bodily autonomy. If a lot of people, if 8 people think that it would be great from them to beat me, and they will earn 2 happiness points, but my happiness points will be much, much lower. When we do the calculation, we'll see that that happiness is not going to be harmed, and that way these rights usually will not be harmed. So we see that the most important one won't be harmed. Secondly, we say that most rights were invented by people that had interest. Let's examine John Locke and his happy friends in England when they say, hey, stop, we need to have property, right of property. Why did they do that? Because they didn't want all those poor people to take their money away. That's why they invented that right. So these rights were invented in order to make sure that some people will be much more happier than others. And we say that undermines exactly the reasons why we have our society, like I showed you in my first point. We say the same thing when we're talking about squatters who go into buildings, and that is wrong by some people, but nobody is using that house, so there's no reason why they shouldn't go in. But hey, I don't want somebody to touch my house because it's mine, even though I'm not going to do anything. We want to maximize happiness as much as we can. Thirdly, we say that when we talk about equality, we're actually going to maximize it, because instead of just taking into account the rights of some people and others, well, they can get along and have what they can, we're saying that by our right, shush, please, we say that by our right, the happiness of everyone is measured the same way, and we will make the policy to make sure that as much as happiness will be achieved. So what we actually showed you is, we showed you that our society is supposed to go the way that we want, because happiness is the reason why we started everything from the beginning, and I showed you why a policy based on happiness is much more important and much more, would work much better than one based on rights. And for all those reasons, we say that us, as DSL, are much better than anyone else here, and that's why we are right.